Oh my goodness, am I really here with the Dr. Eric Roman? Hi, Eric. How are you?
Hey, Victoria. It is so great to be here with you. And my, oh my, we got some exciting stuff to talk about, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Hey, guys, we thought we would take a minute just to bring you behind the scenes. We are vigorously planning for the 20th anniversary productivity workshop in September in Frisco, and Eric is going to take the stage as part of our clinical calibration course for young doctors. Eric, tell us about the course that you're doing here at our program.
Victoria, what we're talking about is how young doctors, and honestly, doctors at any stage of their development, can calibrate their life to their professional career. Calibrating your life and your career, because one of the challenges I've had the joy over my journey. By the way, Victoria, I don't know that a lot of people know, I actually attended the PDA workshop before I started practicing dentistry. Like, I was still in residency at the time. And so my entire life has been productive. Right?
I remember you couldn't even grow a beard back then.
Couldn't even grow it. No, I might have had like 2 little blonde facial hairs. How times have changed, right? And so, it had such a massive impact on me throughout my career in PDA. So what a really cool fitting way to hopefully channel some of that incredible career opportunity to the audience and the attendees. One of the things that I found in coaching and hiring well more than triple digits of associates and teaching clinical directors, we've got a really hard space inside of our profession right now with the plight of the employed dentist, the dental associate. And we have extraordinarily high turnover. We have ridiculously poor data. And what that really means is that our young doctors aren't getting what they wanted out of their career. And the second thing that I discovered is that financial success does not translate into people getting what they want out of their lives. And if we can't connect our financial success and our performance in doing good while we're doing good in our practices to getting what we want out of our incredible lives, my Victoria, like, why are we doing this in the first place? So I'm going to give all the attendees some really tactical strategies to be able to take back and put into their lives ASAP so that they're going to get what they want out of their dental career.
Oh man, I love that so much. Well, thank you so much for being a part of it. In September, this whole program, the first of its kind in the nation, because it's coming from PDA and we've never done this before, but it is a program specific to associate doctors. So if you're an owner and you're contemplating hiring an associate, or you've just hired an associate, your associate is stuck in their productivity at 200, 300, 400 an hour, something like 3,000 a day. We can boost that. We can accelerate that and quickly get your associates up to speed where they're producing like an owner. But more importantly, they've got life balance and they're grounded in their happiness in their career. Dr. David Port talks about that a lot, his research study and his doctorate degree, the value creation for doctors. And it really is about values alignment between the work I love and the life I'm building. And so, Eric, there is no one better in our industry, whether you're young or young at heart, that couldn't benefit from your one life system and making sure that your life path is aligned with your career path. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Victoria. I'm excited to see you and the team in September and can't wait to see who else is going to be joining us there. It's going to be an event that you don't want to miss. So here's your chance. Sign your butt up and get out there. We'll see you in Texas.
Doctor, are you living the dream or just dreaming of living? It is my honor to announce the PDA 20th Anniversary Special Conference this September 12th to the 14th in Frisco, Texas, the nation's leading course on dental practice growth. If you feel isolated as a leader who is frustrated that your schedule is unproductive, maybe your team is disjointed, or your systems are inefficient, this is the conference for you. The PDA 20th Anniversary Conference has all new features, including keynote speaker Emmitt Smith, who is a Pro Football Hall of Fame running back and entrepreneur. You can choose your own educational track to customize your learning experience. Go to www.productivedentist.com and click the pop-up, or select Productive Dentist Academy Conference under the Dental CE and Events tab. That's www.productivedentist.com. Seating is limited. Register today, and we look forward to helping you make your dreams become reality.
We're not going to run something unless we vetted it already, unless we know that it's either come from a reliable source or that we've actually talked to that source themselves, because the last thing we want to do is be gossip.
Welcome to the Everyday Practices Podcast. I'm Regan Robertson, and my co-host, Dr. Chad Johnson, and I are on a mission to share the stories of everyday dentists who generate extraordinary results using practical, proven methods you can take right into your own dental practice. If you're ready to elevate patient care and produce results that are anything but ordinary, buckle up and listen in.
Do you ever want to take a peek behind the curtain and get a firsthand glimpse into the future of dentistry? Chad and I do. That is why we've invited Kevin Henry on today's podcast. Regan Robertson here. Welcome to another edition of Everyday Practices Dental Podcast with my co-host, Dr. Chad Johnson. Chad, give him a quick hello.
Wahoo, Kevin, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Excited to be on with you all today. Thanks so much for the invitation.
Yeah, and thanks to all of our audience members for joining us virtually.
Absolutely. Kevin is a seasoned dental media professional with nearly 25 years of experience in the industry. Currently, you are editor-in-chief of drbicuspid.com as of 2023. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You are a leading online source for dental news and information. You previously served, though, as an editor for different publications in dentistry and have a lot of extensive experience in guiding editorial content. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun today. You are a recognized speaker at major dental meetings and are also the host of Dental Assistant Nation, which is I believe, the longest running podcast for dental assistants. Is that right?
You are right. I'm very, very honored to have that for sure. I love my dental assistant audience.
So cool. if you are not seeing us on video, you hopefully can hear my smile because Kevin has agreed to join the PDA 20th anniversary conference is coming September 12th to 14th. And you are one of our 5 incredible, oh my goodness, dental industry expert panelists lining up for our dental media roundtable. It's the first time we've ever done anything like this before. It's history making, and we will be on the main stage so that we can go deeper into the positive aspects and the future opportunities within the dental profession. So Kevin, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much. No, I'm excited about being in Texas. It's going to be a great meeting, and I'm certainly anxious to hear what everybody else has to say as well.
Well, I know a lot of times editors, even though you are like eyes and ears first on the scene, hearing the trends coming up, still it can be a bit of a sleeper car. People might not necessarily know who you are. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey in dentistry et al. And what initially even drew you to this field?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I fell into this through blind luck, and I'm just incredibly blessed that I was able to. So back, as my daughter loves to remind me, last century, in 1999, I actually was working in sports public relations in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is my hometown. And the company that I was working for, my daughter at that time was 6 months old, and my company decided to move from Tulsa to Kansas City, and they said, "We'd love for you to come with us." And I said, I can't move my daughter away from her grandparents, her family, and everything else. So stayed behind, needed a job. And luckily, the managing editor position in dental economics was open. And I knew nothing about dentistry, but there have been just amazing people along this journey that have said, let me teach you about this. Let me talk to you about this. Let me help you understand what this means. And for 25 years, I've had that fingerprint on some journalism, whether it's dental economics, dental product support, and now Dr. Bicuspid. I'm just, like I said, incredibly blessed to be able to do this.
Very cool.
There's, I like that story because it's very similar to my own in that I just sort of fell into it. I happen to really like teeth, and my mom was a dental assistant. So I have a very loose connection there and stuff, but it's fun when opportunities open up and, and you just kind of follow your passion and your heart. So as the former editor of dental economics in particular, and now at Dr. Bicuspid, which, have 2 differing focuses. What are some wild
Sure.
stories that you've experienced over 25 years? Let's just jump right in.
Let's do it. I mean, my gosh, I think about how whenever I came in, we didn't really have websites even. I mean, it was literally, the print publications and how big that those were,
Yeah.
and seeing the transition to Dentistry IQ now for dental economics, and the Modern Dental Network with Dental Products Report, and now me being solely online with Dr. Bicuspid. It's been amazing. But you think about this progression, and I know we don't like to talk much about 4 years ago with COVID and everything else, but
Mhm.
I think about how important it was to have that online presence and be able to communicate with people during that time and let them know what was going on in our industry. And it's just been such an amazing journey. And yeah, there's some wild stories along the way for sure. Plenty of RDH under one roofs that definitely took different turns than I thought they were going to, and everything else. But no, it's been a lot of fun for sure.
So tell me, you host the podcast Dental Assistant Nation. What are some of the challenges that dental assistants are facing these days?
You
I mean,
know,
what's the latest stuff?
Yeah, the latest stuff, honestly, from dental assistants is they're trying to figure out, because you all know this, and it's something I'm sure we're going to talk about at the meeting. It's how that things have shifted a little bit. It used to be that the dentist was really had a lot of the power whenever it came to the dental team relationship, and now a lot of team members, for good or bad, think that they are in control of it, and they know they kind of walk in sometimes with that "What are you going to do? Fire me" mentality, and it really causes a little bit of a rift in the practice. So my job with Dental Assistant Nation as the podcast host is to bring people in to say, let's make sure A, we're all working together, and B, let's make sure that everybody leaves at the end of the day happy and fulfilled, and that they're really on this journey together, but they're each getting, their own fulfillment in their own ways.
So
So
if it's
that's what
a healthy relationship, though, is it possible that there's an upside to the fact that assistants have more ownership in the patient relationship and the management of the care? I mean, if in a healthy environment.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
So many times the assistants are the bridge between that patient and the dentist
absolutely.
and the practice. And we have to, as an industry, I really believe this, we have to make sure that they're empowered enough to really have that confidence of when Mrs. Jones asks them for their opinion after the dentist has walked out of the room, that they're actually able to say, yes, you do need that crown, and here's why, and be able to show them those radiographs or those images, and really have that confidence. And the doctor and the assistant know that they have each other's back. That's one of the biggest things that I always want to make sure of there.
Very cool.
Oh, usually at every conference, if I'm kicking it off, I talk about that you're never a just. So you're never just a dental assistant. You're never just a dentist. Even dentists feel that way sometimes. And I'm very excited that dental assistants are going to have a voice at the media roundtable with you. When you think to all the episodes you've recorded, do you have a favorite, or do you have one that kind of sticks out in your head that you would love the assistants that are going to come to the conference and listen to this podcast should hear?
Actually, there is. And it's really funny you say that. And it's way back in the episodes. But the timing of this is really good because I was lucky enough to go to South Africa and speak to the dental assistants during their first ever symposium as part of the South African Dental Association meeting back in 2018. And we actually did some podcasts from South Africa. And
Oh,
the biggest thing that I loved about that back in the day, and we're going to do that again because I'm going back in August to do this again right before I see you all.
Oh, that's
I'll be in
amazing.
South Africa, which I'm super excited about that, and we're going to continue a lot of the journey that got stopped by COVID, but we're going to restart it now, and I'm thrilled about that.
good.
The thing that jumps out to me the most about those podcasts is not only the joy that there was in these dental assistants finally having somebody listen to them and talk to them and understand kind of their plight, but also a lot of the problems that they dealt with in Johannesburg or Cape Town, Pretoria, wherever. It's the same things we deal with in Seattle or Denver or Dallas or wherever we are here in the US. And it was such a revelation, I think, for our audience here in the US to hear that they, you said the magic words. They don't want to just be a dental assistant. They want to be respected. They want to be paid correctly. They want to make sure that they're part of the team. It's the same issues that they're dealing with on the other side of the world as well. And I think that was something that was so eye-opening for everybody involved.
Mhm.
So that episode is back around 2018. So we'll put that in the show notes and find it.
Yeah, I'll make sure to send that to you so that we've got it. Absolutely.
Oh, that'll be amazing. So looking at your transition, why did you make the choice to transition from dental economics and over into Dr. Bicuspid? This is a fairly new arrangement, right? Have you been a year with Dr. Bicuspid yet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I had dental products report in the meantime, and I believe our friend Stan Goff is going to be at the meeting as well.
He is.
I love Stan. I worked with Stan at DPR, so it's going to be great to be back with him again. I'll be honest. I didn't want to leave dental economics. Can we talk? Can we kind of just be secretive here for just a second? I didn't want to leave.
I won't tell anyone. Tell us everything.
But I fell in love with this amazing woman, and we at the time she was living in Seattle, I was living in Tulsa, and they would not. Now this was way back in the day. They wouldn't allow me to work remotely, and so I made the choice to move over to Dental Products Report at that time because I could work from our new home in Colorado. And that's the only reason I ever left. Had my wife never come into my life, I'd probably still be in Tulsa and still be at dental economics and still plugging away. But we never know what journey this life takes us on from time to time.
Wow. What has this past year been like now that you're at Dr. Bicuspid? What are some of the things that you've discovered that are interesting and new and different for you?
To me, I try to do some things at Dr. B that aren't I couldn't do at dental economics or DPR. And if you know Dr. Bicuspid, you know that we kind of tackle, shall we say, the shady side of dentistry every once in a while. The embezzlers, the court cases, the things like that. But I will tell you, those are also the stories that get the most clicks for us as well. So we like to bring those to light, and not so much to say, look at these bad people, aren't they horrible? But to use them as teaching moments, because we all know dentistry is so 99% good, and there's just those few bad apples that are out there. And I don't want there to be any more bad apples. So since I came back on board in September, this is actually my second stint at Dr. B. I was there during the pandemic and then came back. But we reinstituted some of these crime stories that we are doing. And again, I just want to make sure that everybody in our industry understands that there are going to be embezzlers out there. How do we avoid those? There are going to be those dental assistants that, unfortunately, you can't leave them alone in the room with a patient.
Wow.
Background checks are important. All these different things that we can talk about, teaching moments. That's my job as an editor, I really believe, is to make sure that not just, a few people see that, but as many as possible so that we can make sure our industry doesn't have any kind of black eyes whenever it comes to the general public.
I love that you talked about it, using it as an educational opportunity. We've had Roy Shelburne on a few times. He talks about his stint in prison, and really, to me, it is an exciting moment to teach because of the gross negligence that can happen. You're completely ignorant. You don't even realize that what you're doing could be terribly wrong. And I've said this before, we've done cybersecurity episodes, which has been really exciting. The mind of an embezzler or someone who's going to engage in that is it's a unique brain. And I think I'm always blown away by the creativity that can happen that I would never have thought of before. So it's fun to see you take a positive spin on it instead of exploiting it for exploitation state and to drag someone's name through the mud. Instead, use it as an educational opportunity.
We have to, and I love that you brought up Roy as an example, because bad things are going to happen, and it's how we recover from those, how we learn from those, how we move forward. And Roy's a perfect example of that. So if I can help my audience do that and make sure that they don't fall into the same trap that somebody else did in our industry, then I've done my job as a journalist, in my opinion.
So how do you go about doing journalism within dentistry? Like what does that look like?
That's a good question.
For me, well, yeah. And honestly, again, that's my background. Dentistry came long after journalism. I have my master's in journalism and my bachelor's degree in public relations.
Oh, okay.
So to me, it's much more about telling that story, and it's about working with authors. I'm certainly not the subject expert, but I want to find people out there, the old saying, surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. That's what's going to happen at the media roundtable. I'm just going to tell you, I'm glad for those other people that are going to be there.
So,
But
for
that's
example, if you had someone say, "Hey, have you heard what the California Dental Board is doing lately? I can't believe it." Does that then send up a red flag in your mind? Like, I don't know, but that sounds like you're really concerned. And if you're concerned, there must be 1,000 other people who are concerned. Is that, I mean, one
yeah.
avenue of how it goes about?
It is. And honestly, we get tips all the time. And I will tell you, I have three amazing editors who work underneath me at Dr. Bicuspid. And every one of those editors is great about, for example, calling the California Dental Board and finding out if there's something there. We're not going to run something unless we've vetted it already, unless we know that it's either come from a reliable source or that we've actually talked to that source themselves. Because the last thing we want to do is be gossip. We want to be news, not gossip. And so what you just said is exactly right. We have to call up, we have to verify, we have to do all those things that journalists are supposed to do, to really make sure that we're giving our readers the right information. And knowing that we're a daily publication, and we come out every afternoon, it's something that my team is constantly following up on those tips so that we not only
Wow.
stay current, but again, we stay correct as well.
Yeah.
Are there any trends that you've noticed over the last year? I would say, Chad and I did a cybersecurity special because dental practices and dental groups were getting hit. That was something that we saw happen the past year. That from your angle, because I do not spend any of my time looking at the shady side. I would say, unless it just happens to cross my desk, I really don't see it. So, what's been going on?
I think that embezzlement's always going to be a front and center thing. I think even in areas of the country where the economy may be doing very well, there are areas where it's not, and that's where you've always got the potential for somebody to just need to take a few $1,000s to cover a bill or whatever it might be. But outside of the whole crime scene, I mean, one thing that we're constantly talking about right now, I feel like, is AI and what it's doing in dentistry and where we're going with this. And, one of the biggest buzzes that I'm hearing right now is actually from the dental team members going, wait, is this going to take my job? Is this going to be
Of
something that one of these
course.
days? Yeah, especially at the front office. Whenever you talk about the insurance verification, whenever you talk about a lot of the scheduling and things like that, there are a lot of front office members that are wondering, is this going to come for me one day? And so I think that that's one thing we have to do as journalists is not just look at what's going on right now, but what's it going to look like in dentistry in 2030, and because a lot of these people are in this for the long haul. And so that's been one of the most fascinating things to me is to talk to experts and say, we're certainly not going down the Terminator road or anything else, but we are going down the area where we are going to be giving more and more to machines to
Mhm.
take more and more off our plate. And then eventually at the end of the day, will there be anything left on our plate?
Ooh, that is such a, I did not think about it from the team perspective like that. I think it's because I come from the mindset of these are supplemental aids to help me work
Mhm.
quicker and more efficiently. So I think I was a fairly early adopter of Chat GPT. I looked at AI immediately and thought, how can it make, and that's, kudos to Bruce and Victoria. Productive Dentist Academy is founded by two very innovative early adopting people. So it wasn't on my radar until Bruce texted me, was like, look into this, see what this can do. And so I had a chance to play around with it. So I see it from a very different perspective. So you're hearing the concern. What are you hearing from dentists? Did they see it as AI as a tool to help their team be more productive or as a tool to replace team members or have less team members?
Well, I think that there's two different camps whenever it comes to the dentist. First of all, whenever it comes to the business side of things, which I'm
Mhm.
such a big proponent of, that's dental economics banged into my brain there for years, is that absolutely, if it impacts your bottom line and gives you more freedom and takes away some of those tasks from your team members they don't want to be doing anyway, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But then, you've got the other side right now where we're talking about having AI look at those radiographs and what are they missing? And, almost in a way, second
Right.
guessing some of the things that the dentists are saying. So there's a little bit of pride and ego on the line right now as well. And I think we're at that point right
Mm.
now where we have to decide, are the dentists going to say, maybe this machine does know a little bit more than I did, or maybe I did miss that? And I think whenever we actually get to that point where we have a consensus on that, that's where I think kind of the next hurdle falls and AI really moves forward on the clinical side of things, at least.
Hmm.
Chad, I'm curious from your perspective too, as an active dentist, and I have focused a lot on AI with regards to the clinical side. And I guess I just glossed over, the AI on the administrative and business side because of my mindset. It would just be a supplemental tool to help you. What's your take on that?
So what I wonder is the patient element in the decision making. And would a patient come in and on an iPad put in their preference of how aggressive or reactive versus proactive they want to be on treatment? Because if AI is going to have a heuristic of being able to say, here are 10 outright dental cavities, and then here are some that are board worthy, cavities to fix, but these would be the gray area. Some patients want to fix those, some patients do not, and they almost then get to be the decider of, I want to set my tolerance to a 7 out of 10, and then therefore now your treatment plan is going to be $1,500. And it's like, wait a second, what if I said my tolerance was 5 out of 10? Okay, well, it'd be $2,200. What if I said my tolerance was 10 out of 10? Okay, then $300, where it might actually let the patient choose, do you treat the worst ones first? Because if you're going to take and make all clinicians equal, if you get what I'm saying, we're not. And so some dentists are more aggressive, but if they're going to say, all right, you all are going to have that removed because AI is going to decide, and it can determine the tolerance factor, then the patient gets to choose what tolerance they want to accept. Was that too confusing, or did that kind of make sense that it would turn the patient into the customer actually?
I got to tell you, that's pretty fascinating. I mean, whenever we order an Uber, we can decide if we want to talk to the driver or not ahead of time. I mean,
Right.
So things like that, I'd love that idea. That's actually very fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the summary that I took away from it was, you kind of went a little over my head, but the summary I was thinking was there is a human element to it. There is nuance to it. And
yes.
my mind went to how we make decisions as leaders. So Chad and myself and Dr. Maggie Augustin are going to do a podcast coming up about how to make a great decision. And the human element is something that is still where I feel AI is very rudimentary and has a very difficult time interpreting at this point in time. But, thinking of this, Kevin, and thinking of your passion with dental assistants, I want to go back to that for a second because I caught something. You talked about dental assistants wanting to be seen and heard, regardless of the country that they're in, that we share this common language about being seen and heard. And AI is on the forefront. What other challenges do you see assistants, especially because we're getting the younger generations in? So I have a Gen Z and a Gen Alpha, and they even speak different languages.
No cap.
Oh my gosh.
Bruh.
What kind of challenges are you hearing right now that you think dentists should be prepared for coming up in the next year?
I think that they need to be prepared to really be able to explain to all their team members each of their individual impacts on the bottom line of the practice.
Yeah.
I think team members have to understand why they make a difference. They're not just coming in to clock in and clock out. They actually want to make a difference. They want to be a part of something bigger. And so I think that they've got to understand that, if you're seeing yourself right now as just an assistant, and I'm just like you, I hate that. Absolutely. Let's turn that mindset around and say, no, you're an integral part of the bottom line. Here's what you do every day to make a difference. And here's how whatever you decide to do with patients can boost us up. And again, every state's different. Dental assistants can do different things in every state, depending on the law. But absolutely, I think that no matter the generation, and especially these younger ones, my daughter's just starting her physical therapy career. And I can tell you that her generation, her friends, they don't want to be seen as just somebody who's a PT. They want to be somebody who makes a difference. And I think we've got to be ready to explain that to our team members and how they make that difference.
I think Kevin, that's a leadership challenge. I think that's a leadership challenge. One, you can empower yourself as an assistant to understand and educate yourself on how you bring value to an organization. So there's that. But also, I think it's the leader's job in the organization to discuss. I think of Chad when we did the Dominican Republic together.
Yeah.
And you slowly and methodically explain. It was so great, Kevin. I don't have any dental assisting background, but I was his assistant. most fun ever. And I was so nervous because I didn't know what I was doing, but I wanted to do a good job. And Chad was calm, easygoing. He's like, this is why. And it was down to the basic of things. This is why it matters, why we wipe the chair down every time. This is why it matters, because we put our box of gloves here, whatever it was. He just explained it
Love
like
that.
Mr. Rogers style. And then, but as you
you're
did
right.
it, Chad, I started to understand my value and how my job and how I showed up really benefited not just you, but the patient
Yes.
and the patient's health, safety, all of that. And so I think it is a bit of a leadership challenge. And I don't know if it's a question here or a statement. I wonder how many dentists are well adept at effectively communicating that value. And that's another area where I think AI can be supportive, but it can't replace building a strong relationship with your team.
So, and Chad, I don't want to jump in front of you here, but I want to tell you that one of the biggest messages that I have for dental assistants whenever I'm speaking in a meeting or the podcast or whatever it is the fact that, not everybody's going to be like Chad. Not everybody's going to be able to explain
Sure.
why the gloves matter or why you should wipe down the chair every time. A lot of them are going to just say, that's your job, go do it. And so the dental assistants have to take it upon themselves and say, what are my goals for the rest of this year? Where do I want to be a year from now? How am I going to get there? And then they've got to be often the instigator of that communication to say, this is what matters to me. How can we work together to get to this point? And they can't sit back and wait for the dentist to have that conversation. A lot of times they've got to be willing to step up and say, this is where I see myself. How about you? And then we start that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts, Chad?
Well, my curiosity was I kind of wanted to take it back to, drbicuspid.com altogether. With that platform and dental professionals, particularly dentists, but the nice thing is it crosses, the different aspects of dentistry. And would that include admin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So how is Dr. Bicuspid helping with continued ed and different different tracks that you can study and learn and stuff like that? How is that presented on you guys' platform?
Yeah, honestly, we're just starting down the CE road. We literally dropped. I'll be honest. In between my two stints, we dropped the continuing education side of things, so that's being built back up right now.
Nice.
But my goal, one of the big misconceptions about Dr. Bicuspid is think of the name. It's Dr. Bicuspid.
Yes.
So team members often go, well, there's nothing on there for me. So that's been the drum I have been banging since I came back. Is that
okay? So wait, is it possible that there would be a rebranding? I hate to put you on the spot, but I mean,
goodness.
No,
well, here's why. I think you almost broached the subject. So not that you need to announce it now, but I just wonder, did that ever cross your mind where it's just like, shoot, how do we get more than doctors when the first word is doctor? Did you get have you guys?
Would you launch RDH Bridge? What would you do? What would you call it? I'm trying to think of what would
I don't know,
with Dr. Bicuspid.
But has it crossed my mind? Yeah, every day. I will tell you that. And it is a conversation I've had with my boss. And I will tell you, again, between us, there's conversations happening. Is there something we could do to make Dr. Bicuspid more team friendly in the name? So,
well, I'll tell you, I'm really proud because I put you on the spot there, but way to be transparent. That's really cool of you.
I lay my cards on the table. That's
well done.
That's who I am.
I mean, because it's not right or wrong, right? You either own up to it, we're Dr. Bicuspid, or you change it so that way more people, know what your perception is supposed to be about versus reality. Yeah.
No, I've had one dental assistant. I kid you not. I was just at the Florida meeting not long ago, and a dental assistant came up to me and she said, you say you're all for dental assistants, but you run Dr. Bicuspid. And I'm like, but
fair enough. I mean,
DA Bicuspid or anything, but there's things on there for assistants, hygienists, but that's the hurdle that at one point I'm going to climb over. And here's hoping that it's soon. For sure.
I thought I'd point out this is inconsequential, but I will take everyone's time to tell this much. My first dental t-shirt was drbicuspid.com.
It was?
Yes, it was. And what year would this have been? I want to say it was probably around 2003.
Chad loves specialty t-shirts. I'll tell you what.
And I will tell you,
With the guy with the mask and the little mirror.
Yeah. I was working at Dell Economics at the time, and I signed up to get one of those t-shirts too. Honest to goodness.
Yes.
So yeah, I get exactly what you're talking about.
I think what we've revealed that's really exciting, Kevin, is you're passionate about dentistry overall, but you are particularly passionate about the team being empowered and working together. So you have gathered in your 25 plus years the understanding that it holistically has to work together to be successful. Is that
we need each other? I mean, it's that simple. We have to have each other working together in as good a harmony as we possibly can, or else it's not going to work. So yeah. And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Right?
No, it's perfect. Why does that? I'm very curious. Why does that drive you in particular? Because there's a lot of areas you could focus on.
It goes back to Dell Economics. It feels like everything in this conversation has, but when I was there, we had Dell Economics magazine, we had RDH magazine, and I loved both of them. I worked on both of them. I helped build them, but we didn't have anything for assistants. So I started Dental Assisting Digest back in the day, just as a resource. And that was in 2005. And it's something that just has always spoken to me. I've always cheered for the underdog. I've always been that kumbaya, can't we all just get along kind of guy. So I guess it's always just spoken to me that, how can we build this together, and how can we see that everybody's working toward the same goal? Everybody wants to go home happy. Nobody wants to go home upset. So how can we work on that together to make sure that happens?
You mentioned being able to queue up online learning again, or educational learning again, which is a big deal. Is that pulling you forward in the next year? Is that what you're really excited about? Are there other areas that you're looking forward to?
We just restarted the Dr. Bicuspid podcast. I love podcasts. I think I do like 4 or 5 of them. So I think this is a great medium. And
so we're going to be your guests. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Come on. Absolutely. Well, I will be happy to return the favor. Trust me. But, it's something that I think we've got to reach our audience wherever they are. I know we're doing video on this as well. There's the audio, there's the written word. There's all these different ways that we have to reach an audience. And for me, it's about finding which one resonates with who, and making sure that we're still feeding them that, and that every day, somehow, some way, we're touching them in the way that they need to learn.
Cool.
That's phenomenal. So I guess my follow-up question, as we kind of wrap up here, is what are you looking forward to? You mentioned Stan Goff, so it's going to be a bit of a reunion for you there. What are you looking forward to with this media roundtable? And why did you say yes to come to the 20th anniversary conference in Texas?
Why would I say no? I mean, you package it like that. Come on. No, to be honest, and I'm being dead serious, it's an honor to be asked, because I know that you all don't take lightly who you all put up on stage. So to be asked is a true honor. I love to just pick other people's brain. I love to hear different perspectives, because there's a lot of things that Stan or anybody else could be looking at that I'm not seeing. And I want to be able to bring, those things together and really make sure that we're all just sharing ideas, because I think that's how we grow, is that we learn from each other. And as sappy as it sounds, I absolutely believe in the whole rising tide lifts all boats philosophy. So I really,
you're going to love meeting our culture there. It's awesome.
That's what I'm looking for, is that, how can we learn from each other? So that's what I'm most excited about.
Good.
Well, thank you, Kevin, for taking your time to be with us today. Thank you for being part of the Media Roundtable and just sharing all of your great expertise, and especially your empowerment for team. That is an absolute delight.
Right? Very cool.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
And if you would love to see Kevin live in person, September 12th to the 14th, we invite you. We still have a few seats left to the Productive Dentist Academy 20th Anniversary Conference in Frisco, Texas. Go to productivedentist.com and you can register today. We look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Everyday Practices Podcast. Chad and I are here every week thanks to our community of listeners just like you, and we'd love your help. It would mean the world if you can help spread the word by sharing this episode with a fellow dentist and leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. Do you have an extraordinary story you'd like to share or feedback on how we can make this podcast even more awesome? Drop us an email at podcast@productivedentist.com. And don't forget to check out our other podcasts from Productive Dentist Academy at productivedentist.com/podcasts. See you next week.